The Quran stated it that Allah prescribed fasting for the generations before the Islam. And those generations, we say they are Christianity generations. In Christianity, they observe fasting. In our Quran, we observe fasting. And the bottom line is, لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ, so that you will be pious people. With this, I want to say thank you for listening. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Please, let us appreciate our speaker once again. We listen to him very carefully. It's very simple. That level where even as a non-Muslim, you will understand that what is happening today is not acceptable. It is not acceptable to the Islamic religion. It is not acceptable to Christianity. I am sure that if we can take away some of the teachings and lessons that he shared with us, our society will be the better for it. Please let's appreciate him once again. At this juncture, I was supposed to be passing the responsibility that the president, who is the presiding officer for this symposium, passed to me to somebody else who is a craftsman. He's a craftsman because he's an engineer, but he's also a craftsman because he's a wordsmith. Permit me to introduce to us Past Assistant Governor Abdul Audu. Past Assistant Governor Abdul Audu, please join me to welcome him. Past Assistant Governor Abdul Audu, I think at this juncture you can take over.
Join the Rosary. Join the Rosary. Oh, join the Rosary.
Please sing on.
Join the Rosary. Join the Rosary and be a good leader.
Thank you. Thank you very much. My President, my Lieutenant Governor, Assistant Zonal Coordinator, fellow Rotarians, our guests who are automatically friends of Rotary today, if I'm not mistaken. I want to thank you very much for coming. I came in and I have been saddled with this responsibility. But like he said, I will not shrink the responsibility put on me. We are on item 9. Because there is not much time, we'll just move on very fast. Sorry, we just leave from item 9, moving to item 10, which is a presentation on physical assistance, a tool for development. The speaker will have 20 minutes, but please permit me to call on Emmanuel Kagwai, coordinator JDPC, to please introduce the speaker.
Excuse my, I would request that I please, because I've went the protocol, I want to introduce my boss. He is my boss. So, my director, Development and Peace Initiative, otherwise known as JDPC, Justice, Development and Peace Commission, Caritas as the case may be, of this Archdiocese of Kaduna. It's a Catholic faith-based organization. We've been working in Kaduna for many years. You like cast your mind 30 years ago to find a name, JBPC. And we've worked with several groups, including the Peace Network, that have attended some of your meetings and your workshops. And I want to sincerely thank the organizer for making us be part of this event this year. The person that is going to talk to us is a priest, trained, theology and philosophy, the teaching of the church, the Bible, and he's going to talk to us from the aspect of what the teaching of the church means to us, and what that as it relates to peace and promoting coexistence among groups. So, for the want of time, permit me to introduce to you Reverend Father Joshua Ima Achi, Director of DPI, JDPC, to talk to us in the next 20 minutes. I believe, after his presentation, we will be happy and will not regret being here. We join with an imam here. So thank you. We will listen.
We love you. We love you.
So I'd like to begin by saying a very big thank you to all of you for availing yourselves present here for such an important occasion. I also want to thank my brother for his wonderful exposition, and to say here that I'll be speaking to us on something that we can relate with, not something that is up there. Sometimes we might speak so many big grammars, and at the end we go home without really having to achieve the purpose for why we are gathered here. My talk this evening is just a reflection, and I'm sure, as I said earlier, that we'll be able to relate with it. I was born and bred at a place called Hayembanki. I grew up with children from different cultural and religious backgrounds. It was indeed an interesting upbringing. As children, we knew no differences. We played together, we ate together, we studied together. No one bothered about tribe, about religion, whether you are Christian or Muslim, whether you are Baju or Nupe or Yoruba or Idoma or Igede and what have you. No one bothered about all of these things. We lived together as brothers and sisters. We lived together as community. We lived together as family. It was only in terms of practicing our religion that we understood that we were Christian and Muslim. We looked forward to Happy Christmas and Barka da Sallah. At these times, we shared food to our neighbors, and they did the same. As children, we also got money to play around with. You know, at Christmas, we say Happy Christmas to people. We get some money from them. At Salah, we say Barka da Sallah, and then we get some money also to play around with. We looked forward to Lokacin Ramadan, Lokacin Azumi, the Lokacin Shanrua, because there were also times that people got to be generous. It was another time to also enjoy the breaking of fast. Ladies and gentlemen, we shared gifts in love. There was no suspicion, there was no animosity. Everything was going on so well. We catered for one another, we got one another's back. We sat in the same class, whether we were Christian or Muslim, Buddhist or Hindus or traditionalists. We did things together. Our parents worked in the same company and the same organizations. This experience for me was life for all. It made all to live to fuller existence. It was like heaven on earth. When we moved house to the next compound, we had a Block Rosary Crusade Center. For those who are Catholics, they will understand what that means. It's simply a daily devotion in the Catholic Church. And it was not a problem at all to people of other faiths and other religions. I was a very good footballer, at that time. My friends told me that I was good. In my own right, too, I knew I was good. And I played football alongside with people like Bala, people like Danladi, people like Keegan. I played for a team owned by Marlon Yaya. He was our coach, and he was a Muslim. We lived in the same compound with Bala, with Danladi, with Talatu, and their parents. Babam Bala was Nupe, and he was a Muslim. My dad was Christian and Tiv by tribe. Maman Talatu was an industrious woman who sold masara while her daughter sold reke. I remember that any time I bought masara, she would give me extra for my patronage. Sometimes she would leave her masara for us to help her sell, as the case may be, and give her back the returns. On Sundays, we went to church, and on Fridays, my friends went to Mass. And suddenly, one day, my siblings and I, and those who lived with us, found ourselves in the barracks. Why? Something went wrong. Something was definitely wrong. This community life, this family life, fizzled out. That bond of family, that bond of unity died completely. Things turned sour. The community became a sorry state. Things were no longer the same. Ladies and gentlemen, I never returned to that community. It wasn't cowardice. But for me, it was heaven not to go back to that community. What went wrong? It was an avoidable riot which led to the destruction of life and property. And the aftermath of this was suspicion and animosity. We were no longer safe with one another. The neighborhood became unsafe, as people who hitherto lived in peace began to live in fear. Indeed, our diversity, our unity, our peace, and our security were threatened. This was the beginning of the plan of some others to relocate. Many people started looking for a safer location where they could move to. By safer location, they mean where people with a common religion or a common tribe lived. And in this way, a gulf was created between adherents of the two major religions in Kaduna State. Kaduna then became a tale of two cities, divided in practice along the line. The south of Kaduna is viewed as a Christian-dominated area, while the north is regarded as a Muslim stronghold. The level of mutual suspicion, betrayal, and hypocrisy heightened. Ladies and gentlemen, we may not be able to go back to the community of the past. As I said earlier, I don't see myself going back to Hayambanki, and I don't see Bala coming to stay in Sabo. The truth remains, we are better together than apart. We are all stakeholders in the business of peace building. We must open a new page and begin to draw out an action plan that will bring about a new Kaduna State with an enabling environment for one to thrive. We cannot go back to the former days. It's not possible. So we need to begin to do what? To draw or design a new Kaduna State. We must begin to educate people on the concept of respect for the dignity of the human person, and then on the concept of the common humanity. These are very important. Today, most people are no longer concerned about the provision of the basic necessities of life. People are okay, even if you don't build schools. If you don't build hospitals, they are okay. When you don't offer quality education, they are fine with that. When you don't create jobs, they are okay. When you hike prices of fuel and food, they are okay. When you increase electricity tariff, when you render them harborless and naked, they are okay. They don't care anymore because they have survived without food, without shelter and clothing denied them by the powers that be. All they ask for now is an enabling environment to thrive. Shikenan. For some time now, Kaduna State has come under the activities of bandits and kidnappers. I want to seize this opportunity to appreciate all people of goodwill for their efforts towards ensuring that the peace and security of Kaduna State are restored. But the question remains, how then can this peace and security be restored and sustained by all of us, we who are stakeholders in the business of peace building? What more is the level of contribution we can put in to ensure that peace and security are restored? What commitment would we make to ensure that in the next 10 years or so, there will be no provocation, no conflict, no violence, and no riot? Enough of the talkings, enough of the round table discussions. I think we have to do more, and all of us have a part to play. What more effort can we put in to ensure that no one from outside influences violence or conflict? Would we want to go back to those dark days of needless crisis? Certainly not. We may ask, what has been the effect of the dark days and now? We must coexist. We must live together. We must grow together. We must be sincere. We all must stand on the side of truth. If you look around, you will observe that Kaduna is becoming a beautiful city with the road infrastructure. I also see that markets are under construction. Kudos to the present administration. This is good initiative. This should bring us together. This, in a way, is better than roundtable discussions and dialogues. This is also bringing about development in the state. This will remain so only if we agree to live together in harmony. Otherwise, it is a waste of time, energy, and resources. These things will be destroyed in the future if we don't agree to work together now. Sustaining peace is very important to all and for all of us. Where there is peace, there is peaceful coexistence, and where there is peaceful coexistence, there is development. And where there is development, there is engagement. And where there is engagement, there is less or no crime. Let us use this opportunity to reflect on the effects of conflict and the gains of peace. This might help us and help our state. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Father.
Okay.
Another round of applause for the Father. I must thank you very well once again because you used your time less 10 minutes. I mean, you spent 10 minutes talking to us, and I think the speech was very incisive, penetrated, and we all understood what he said. When we add this to what our brother Sheikh Salam said, you will see that we are all supposed to be on the same side. Without much ado, we want to call on members of the audience who have questions, and then there will be answers from the speakers. But while we do that, I want to welcome our elder, Vice President, the man who called the chairman of the Management.
He's our
Thank you.
guest
Question
speaker.
and answer
He's our
period.
guest speaker. He's spoken.
You're welcome.
How many of us have questions?
Yeah, do you like? That's finished. First chat.
Yes.
One question for us, please. Okay. All right. Also, as you ask questions, be mindful of our time. Thank you.
My question actually goes to our Reverend Father. He said something that we can no longer return to the past. If you said we can no longer return to the past, then what is the essence of us coming together or talking about peace? Is it just peace on paper? Is it just peace that we cannot practicalize it? Is it just peace, like you said, you can no longer return to hanging banking? So please, if you can really expatiate on that, I will appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. You note, maybe there will be another question, so I'll take them together. There's a question going for him.
All right, thank you very much for the opportunity. All right, so I hand it over to
Okay.
Okay, so my question is similar to what PZC said. What are the concrete steps we can take from taking actions rather than mere words? Because we hear about peace, we hear very touching stories, and we wish we lived at that time when you were in High-Banki. We've also heard about stories from both scriptures on how peace is the essence of both faiths. However, at any given opportunity, we find ourselves running helter-skelter for our lives. What can we do to change the narrative? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Abdurrahman Abdulhamid. My question is also similar to the previous people. As a believer, both religion preaches peace, and we, the followers of the religion, refuse to tolerate each other. The followers of the both religion refuse to tolerate each other. Now, how do we come back as one? How do we, or how can we tolerate each other? That is my question.
Thank you. No more, right? So it's only the Reverend Father that I have questions. So, to do justice to it, I suppose. Thank you, sir.
Usually, when you present a practical paper, you should expect to have questions. So, and for me, it is not out of place. I expected that questions will arise from my presentation. The first question is what I said about the fact that we cannot return to the past. Right. And I answered that question while talking. I said we must begin to design a new state or a new community or a new family, as the case may be. And to buttress that point, I said that you won't find me going to stay in Higher Banki. It's not possible. And again, I also maintain that you will not find Bala coming to stay in Sabo. If we will be truthful and sincere to ourselves, you understand that what I'm saying is true. You won't find people on their own, if not because of work or because of market, leave where they are to go to a place that is beclouded by a predominantly minority of the other religion. It's not possible. And so we cannot go back to those days where we lived together and understood ourselves, where we were more like family, we were a community, we got one another's back, we catered for one another. It's difficult. We've always had this round table discussions. We've had series of dialogues. By the way, dialogue remains the only better option, so to speak, because where you have wars and riots, chaoses, and conflicts, at the end of it all, you still come back to the table to discuss on how things can get better. So, for me, the onus is on all of us who are stakeholders in this business of peace building. It is we who are here together with others who are in the same business with us that we find solution to this same problem. Are you not tired of what is happening now? I think it has come very close. We used to think, the happenings about banditry and kidnappings are far, but now they are very close to us. So we need to begin to think on how we can design a new Kaduna state so that people from the other line, the other side of the divide, will be educated. This will also be part of part of answering the second question. People on the other side have to be educated on the common good, on the concept of the common humanity, on respect for the dignity of the human person. We must say it every time, any day. We must roll out jingles so that people understand that we're first human beings before any other thing else. Sometimes we don't even know that. It's unfortunate that we don't even understand who we are. And so even lower class animals could even live better than us. So we need, first, as I said, to design a new Kaduna state and then to begin a new education. I've seen CBOs and LBOs churn out young ambassadors for peace. That is a good way to begin the talk. Again, we must be truthful in whatever we do. We cannot be hypocrites. Sometimes what people see is not who we truly are. We just come before media people and say one thing, while the truth is that we are not what we represent. We must be sincere to ourselves. So about changing the narrative too, I still insist that there is need for us to educate ourselves. I think in our schools, in our universities, we begin to have programs, that have these social teachings that can help us in respecting the dignity of the human person. If we know how important the dignity of the human person is, I think we'll roll out such messages to our students, to our family members, and to our children. Again, if we don't respect each other or one another, we cannot respect one another's religion. It's not possible. Most times, as I said earlier, we just come and talk and talk. Nobody is walking the talk. I spoke about an action plan. What are we taking home from such a meeting? It is not just about breaking fast. It is not about eating together. But what concrete action are we taking from this meeting? It is good that we always talk, and that is also helping to mitigate conflicts. But all of us, as I said during my paper presentation, we have a stake. We are all stakeholders. To have been invited here, you are a stakeholder. So what are you going to do? What am I going to do? What are we going to do to ensure that we make Kaduna great again? Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much. You want to ask questions again? I think we have closed that. Yes, we need to save time.
Just 2 points to add. Steps to be taken. If I have a friend, Bala, and I'm in the other side, if Bala's wife put to bed, what do we do? Those of us who knew Bala 20 years ago in the other side, to go and be happy with Bala. If there is wedding, what do we do to rally around Christian Muslims in both sides? Can our children be in the same school, not a school that is divided? I used to give an example of my son that he is now in SS3, he's writing exam, but he has never gone to a class with a Muslim. Perhaps in the university, he will meet him. So those are the activities that we used to do before. Can we do those exchange activities across the two sides? It will help in concrete steps in reducing that.
Thank you very much. That is a very good point. Very good point. Please, after this program, when it is time for breaking of fast, we want to all move to the other room for breaking of fast, and we have to be as orderly as possible. Okay? You want to say something?
Yes, because
okay.
Sorry because of time. I'm actually disturbed. Disturbed in the sense that I know, I quite agree that we don't have time on our side. What I'm disturbed is over the years, that I've been here in Kaduna, we've been talking about peace, peace, peace. It then means we are not sincere to ourselves. And I'm also happy that Imam Ashafa is here, and I know that he has been in the vanguard. And if you permit me, because actually I'm not happy. And if I'm going away from here, to be honest with you, I'm taking out note. In the sense that there has been no genuine reconciliation. If you can give time to Imam Ashafa, please, after breaking of fast.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. That is agreed. Sorry, the Sheikh here has to say something. But before then, let me quickly say this. Maybe because I'm holding the mic now, let me seize this opportunity to say small thing. I came to Kaduna in 1982 to what we call intro in CAD Poly. Intro student, that is you start. And Kaduna that we knew was a very beautiful place. Everybody was everywhere. But when we talk now, as if, the town is divided, we know. I do know that if you go to High Banki, you still see Christians there. If you go to Badiko, you still see Christians there. If you go to Kurimashi, you still see Christians there. So, can't we escalate as isolated as those examples are? Because even in Angwarimi here, you still see Christians there, in Angwakudu and the rest, they are still there. So, and in the GRA, those big people, they live together. So, can't we try to see how we can, like, using the word of the Reverend Father, redesign and escalate those fusions so we can still remain together. Not even trying to propagate this division that is showing. But if you go to Banawa, you see Christians and Muslims. So they are still there. My Oga Akim Sani is in Banawa. A lot of people here in Banawa. So we can also redesign and get back to that position. Even in Golingora, I was surprised. I saw some Muslim families there.
Yeah, yes.
I saw some Muslim families in Golingora. So we still can do this. Sorry, Reverend Father, I will come back to you and my Oga. But the Sheikh wanted to say something.
A quick response. I'm not taking time.
Okay.
Just a quick response. Sorry, sir.
No problem.
Yeah. Maybe you don't know that all these places you are mentioning, I have a link with them. I worked in Tudunwada, I worked in Abakpa, I worked in Agwarimi, I was in Kau. In fact, all of these places, as I said earlier, have a link. And I'm happy that you spoke about the fact that we should propagate this these fusions, this being together. And it makes a lot of sense to me. I just spent something while our brother was talking there. I said, we cannot go back to the past, but we can learn from the lessons of the past. I don't know if we understand that. Let us learn from the lessons of the past so that we don't repeat history. It's in that light. It is not helping anybody in any way. And I still insist that we are better together than apart. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Sorry, sir. Coming to you.
Thank you very much. We in Muslim Peace Network, we believe that nothing impossible in the sight of God Almighty Allah. There are two things that have disappeared in our midst today. Two things. That is why we will not relent, we will not tire to be telling our leader the truth of the matter. There are two things that have disappeared in our midst today. What is it? Justice and equity. These are the two things that we are going to continue to tell our leaders. Where you find injustice, you will not find peace there. Justice and equity. My brother, my father, they are here. They will not tire. They will continue telling their leader, especially in this country. These are the two things that we can find peace. Justice and equity. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And the same for injustice is worse than unbelief. Thank you.
I think we should applaud ourselves. It's been a very positive conversation. The whole idea is that we should all be able to take something away from the conversations we've had today that will go back to change our lives. Is that not right? That is the reason why we are having this talk. This time, just before we break fast, it is very significant that coming together to have a talk like this, we also use the opportunity to say prayers for Kaduna State and Nigeria. It can't be done by talking alone. We desire it, we will it, but it will not come easily. So let us call on our Almighty Father that let him look at the benefit of this particular month we are in and have mercy on us. Yesterday I was moved to tears when I saw on TV that after 55 million, they are still asking for 100 million or the death of 17 children. Any of those children could be our children. So